the one, the only Benzion. Good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun Benzion. Today we're doing Benzion Gittin Daf Yud Beis, number 12. The Gemara discusses for most of the Daf Machlokes. Turns out to be a Machlokes between Rav and Rabbi Yochanan. Whether if you're an Adon and you own an Eved Knaini, you can say Asei mi ve'eni zancha, work for me, and I won't feed you. Which basically you have complete control over the Eved. Go work with me the whole day. I'm not giving you any food. Where's he going to get food from? Go to the Stucca. Go to the Gabite Stucca and get food from him. Do you have that right to do that? Or could the Eved say, either give me food or free me? Right? So according to Rav, you have no right to say that to your Eved. So either you feed him, or you say, see, whatever you earn in the field, you keep and feed yourself, which you could do. Or the other option is to free him. According to Rabbi Yochanan, no, you have complete control over your Eved. You can tell him what to do. And if you decide to do so, it's not the nicest thing to do. So if you decide to do so, you don't have to feed him. The budget is tight. You don't have to feed him. He'll get money from it elsewhere. He'll do whatever he can to survive. And it might not be the smartest idea because he's not going to have food to work for you, but that's up to you. That's in your discretion. We possibly, Rabbi Yochanan, you could say this. Now, it's very clear that why a woman you can't say this. And the reason a woman is different is because there's a concept of a ksuba. Even if you don't have a writ, some places they didn't write a ksuba. Ksuba is midoraisa. The chi of mizonos, so you have to feed your wife. The Gemara learned in Masechus Ksubos and Daf Mem Zayin. It says, Sheira ksusavonasa lo yigra. The Gemara learns, Sheira is referenced, according to the main opinion over there, means mizonos. So you have to feed your wife. Now the Rabbanan were masakin ma'isia dat tachas mizonos, that because the Torah obligates you to feed your wife, so therefore to make it fair, the Rabbanan give whatever income your wife earns, that goes to the husband. As long as I'm feeding her, she could have her income. Now there's machlokes in the Gemara who has rights over there, right? Can the woman say, if she's making a lot of money, I'll take whatever income I'm making, and I don't want your mizonos, right? That's a machlokes in the Gemara Masechus Ksubos. But basically, the woman is entitled to either mizonos, which the Torah accords to her, or to her income. She gets something, so she could always have what to feed herself, which is in contrast to Rabbi Yochanan's opinion by an Eved, where he can say basically, work for me, pay me the salary that you earn, or whatever wheat you harvest, give to me, and I'm not even going to feed you. The difference is because the Torah mandates that you have to treat your wife differently. You have to treat her. Now, there's a big discussion. What type of kinyan does an Eved have, does a Rav have in his Eved, a master have in his Eved? Is it a kinyan gufo or a kinyan mamono? Do you own the body of the Eved, or do you just merely own the finances of the Eved? There's a famous dictum in the Gemara that says, Mashakana Eved kana Rabba. Whatever the Eved acquires, that belongs to the master. So that's merely a monetary law, that whatever the Eved owns, I own. I own his wages, but I also have to feed him. Right? A kinyan gufo, Rabbi Yochanan really essentially says, besides the fact that you have a kinyan on mammon, you also have a kinyan on his body. I control his body. To the point is, I can force him to do something. What a kinyan gufo? Kinyan gufo is essentially what the Rishonim call a kinyan shal isser v'heter. Isser v'heter means discretion. I can tell people to do something. I can force people. I can compel people to do something. Just like the Torah, isser v'heter compels you, do this or don't do this. I have those rights to my Eved to say, do this, work for me. And I don't have to feed you, right? I can do it bal korcho. I can say, work for me. I don't have to feed you, right? And then there's also a kinyan mama. Whatever he gets, whatever he earns belongs to me. Whatever belongs to me. And even though I'm not feeding him, I still have the kinyan guf that I can have discretion to tell him to work for me, even though you're getting nothing. Now, what is it by a wife? Do you have a kinyan guf or a kinyan mamona? We know that also, mashakana isha kana baila. That's true also. Do we say that by a husband, he has a kinyan over the goof of his wife? And I think really the answer is that yes, it's true. It's true. It's not the fact that Torah says Sheira ksusav v'nasa lo yigra. It's an obligation on the husband. He has to give her mizonos, but that's not included in that. That's a separate obligation, right? It's written in a ksuba. It's formalized in a ksuba. It's meant to be written in a ksuba. It's a separate obligation, which is not the same thing as a kinyan gufa. A kinyan gufa, yes, A husband, I believe, this is the truth. A lot of people say that really a husband only has a kinyan mammon in his wife. But since the whole concept of the fact that he has to feed her is mandated in the ksuba, it's a separate document, and it's a mitzvah in the Torah, really. Sher ksuv and asalo yigra. I think that it's distinct from the actual relationship he has with his wife, because the Gemara says in many places, "Ishto kagufo," your wife is like your body, and I think literally the translation of that is that she's like your body, and therefore you have control over her body. I mean, the woman doesn't have control over the man, right? In the beginning of Sechas Kiddushin, man is makadesh es ha'isha. He becomes the baal for her. He's kona her, right? He's kona certain things of her. So I believe he does have a kinyan over her body, and the reason this is important is in terms of, now obviously the Torah mandates you have to give her mazonos. That's something which is a mitzvah in the Torah. I don't think because he has a chiyuv to give her mazonos that tells you that's magala. It reveals the relationship to the husband and wife. He doesn't have a kinyan kuf on her. No, it's part of the ksuba. It's formalizing the ksuba, and it's a mitzvah in the Torah. I don't think that really tells you what the relationship is. Because, like first of all, the proof is ishtar kagufo, right? She's like your goof, and that has certain ramifications for halacha, ishtar kagufo, right? That your wife could actually light an eros Hanukkah for you and things like that. She's like part of your body. She's part of your body. So there's definitely an inyan of kinyan gufo over there, and therefore the nafkamina is the importance of understanding like this, saying it like this is to tell you that really when it comes to being around the house, the man has control over his wife. At least he should have control over his wife. That he's able to tell her what to do. He's allowed to, like the Gemara says in Masechtas Ketubos, there's certain things that she's meshubud. She's meshubud to her husband to do certain malacha. She has to bake for him. She has to cook for him. She has to do the laundry for him. She has to clean for him. These are things that the woman is obligated to do. The reason she's meshubud is because of this kinyan guf. When you marry a woman, you acquire her body, and you have discretion to tell her what to do. Now, you can't take advantage, or you have to feed her mazonos, the Torah says, but that's a separate obligation of the ksuba, that you have to give her mazonos, you have to take care of her. But in terms of controlling her, telling her what to do, according to the Torah at least, you have the right to tell her what to do, and she, as a wife, has to listen. And if she doesn't do those things, that's grounds for gerushin. You can divorce her, and you cannot pay her the ksuba, presumably. So basically, and in a certain respect, a woman also has a kinyan in the goof of the husband. That's the difference. That when it comes to an eved, the Rav has a kinyan in the goof of the eved. It doesn't work. The eved has a kinyan in the goof in the Rav. But when it comes to marriage, the principal kinyan in the goof is the husband has control over the wife, but the woman also has control over the husband for certain things, right? The Gemara says that the husband is meshubad to her, to be together with her. Tashmish Amita, he's meshubad to her. And therefore, they each have a shiba to each other with Tashmish Amita. And therefore, so she, like Kigufo, it's not just that he controls her goof. Ishto Kigufo, they both have controls of each other's bodies. They both control in certain regards. The Torah outlines in what regards you have the right to force your wife to do malacha for you. Of course, you have to feed her, because that's part of the ksuba. That's a mitzvah in the Torah. But the kinyan of a husband and a wife is not just a kinyan mammon, that whatever the woman makes belongs to her husband. Even on a deraisa level, the man has control over the goof of the woman, and in certain respects, the woman has control over the goof of her husband. So it's a kinyan in the goof, which is a kinyan isser v'heter, which is basically you're allowed to tell them what to do or what not to do, at least vis-a-vis certain things that the Torah tells you that you have control over. That's important to note, that when it comes to relationship between a husband and wife, it's actually a kinyan aguf, not just a kinyan mammon. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.